Teenage girl charged with having sex with a 14-year-old schoolmate, another girl, and that is causing part of the problem. The case is raising a lot of questions, including whether the defendant is now being treated more harshly because of her sexual orientation. At just 19, Katilyn Hunt should be decorating a college dorm room. Instead, this morning, she's locked in a jail cell. The teen is awaiting trial in Florida, accused of having an inappropriate relationship with a fellow high school student. Hunt was 18 at the time. The other student, also a girl, was just 14, under the age of consent.
We don't have a comment at this time.
When the younger girl's parents reported the relationship in February, prosecutors charged Hunt with 2 counts of lewd and lascivious battery of a child. She was released on bond and told not to contact the girl. But on Tuesday, a judge revoked Hunt's bail after police say she did just that, allegedly exchanging 20,000 texts with the girl since her arrest. Many of them were explicit.
I also observed videos and pictures of Katilyn Hunt.
Hunt, seen here dressed in an orange jumpsuit and shackles, has yet to enter a plea, but her family and friends say they're convinced she's being singled out for being gay.
I don't think that either one of these girls thought that anything that they did was wrong. I certainly don't see her as a danger to the community.
But overnight, an attorney for the young victim says her family decided to report Hunt because of the age issue alone.
The disapproval had nothing to do with sexual orientation. There was sexual activity between a 14-year-old child and an 18-year-old adult. That's a violation of the law.
Adding to Hunt's troubles this morning, prosecutors are no longer offering a potential plea deal, meaning she could be labeled a sex offender and face up to 30 years in prison if convicted. ABC News spoke to Hunt's parents this spring about what they said they feared most.
The state attorney can spin it any way that they want to, but it's a death sentence for her. All of her goals will be unreachable.
Now, Katilyn Hunt did express in some of those text messages that she knew she could get in trouble for contacting the girl, but she did it anyway. Georgia,
okay,
now she is
thanks.
behind bars.
She sure is. Let's bring in ABC's Chief Legal Affairs anchor Dan Abrams for more on this right now. First major mistake for Katilyn, those text messages.
Well, that's right. And also sending these allegedly lewd images, because she's now been charged with an additional crime. But I think there's another mistake here, and that is not accepting the plea deal, which would have given her probation. Now, some are saying, wait a sec. Why should she accept this deal? Why? Because the Florida law is going to be really tough for her to deal with. Put aside whether you think she ought to have been prosecuted. The minute they indicted her, she's in big trouble here because of the law. Now, I happen to think that this Florida law is a little wacky. Why? Because a 23-year-old can legally have sex with a 16-year-old in the state of Florida, but not a senior and a freshman in high school.
And that gives the prosecutors very little discretion.
Well, that's right. So in all of these cases, put aside whether they're same sex, different sex, it's very often prosecuted because the younger person's parents call the authorities. And then they've got these laws in the vast majority of states where basically it says technically, if you had sex with a minor, it doesn't matter, senior and freshman, you can be prosecuted. Once you get prosecuted, you're in big trouble.
So you don't think she's being singled out because it's a same-sex relationship?
I don't know. I don't know if they went after, I don't know if the family didn't like that. I don't know the answer to that question. I do know that now that she's been prosecuted, and this happens in other cases, in cases where you're not talking about same sex, where you get an 18-year-old and 14 or 15-year-old, and you get the 18-year-old prosecuted. It happens, and it very often happens because the parents report it. So at this point, I don't think she's being treated differently because it's same sex. Whether she was initially prosecuted because of that, you'd have to dig in with the family members, et cetera, to talk about that.
Okay, Dan Abrams, thanks very much.